We're really honored today, and we really appreciate Keely being here. And so you can find out about the state finances and how it impacts you and the state budget, which is really the governor's blueprint for what he or she thinks the priorities are for the state of California. Director of Finance, Keely Bosler.
Today I'm going to talk a little bit about our 1920 budget. We're in extraordinary times right now, but that is punctuated by a lot of uncertainty. And I think over the weekend, the impending news about a potential bankruptcy of PG&E just really underscores all of the things that could go wrong, that could impact the state's economy and the state's revenues. The up and down of the stock market towards the end of the year and into the new year, as well as just the federal shutdown and everything that's happening in Washington, D.C. All of those things give myself and my economist and those that forecast my revenues some pause about what we're going to see in the future. The other big thing is that we're almost 10 years into the longest economic expansion in history, and as all of those who study and look at these things, we have these things called business cycles, and what goes up does eventually go down at some point. So all of these things are the reason why we've put together the budget that we've put together that really starts with a very strong foundation. So we're spending about $13.6 billion on what we're calling budget resiliency, and this is made up of three different components. About $3.6 billion of that is required by Proposition 2, which is our rainy day fund that was passed by the legislature and the people, the constitutional amendment, which is composed of about $1.8 billion to pay down states' debts and another $1.8 billion towards the rainy day fund. We are proposing to eliminate all of the state's budgetary debts. These are the loans that the state took out from transportation accounts, including the late fees, and other special fund loans. And we're also unwinding two, I will call them budget solutions that we used during bad times, which was to defer the state's payroll by 1 month and also defer the fourth quarter payment to our CalPERS system. So we're unwinding both of those things. Those are going to provide for more budget resiliency as we move forward into the more uncertain times. Building on all of the work that the prior administration laid the foundation for, the governor is proposing to make significant investments into the state's rainy day fund. And this is actually a projection of what we will have in the rainy day fund at the end of our forecast period. So we expect to have about $15.3 billion by the end of the budget year, and that will grow up to $19.4 billion. This is really significant because last year at the Budget Act, last summer, we were expecting to be at the 10% target by this upcoming budget year. We are in receipt of a legal opinion from Legislative Counsel that we concur with, that those supplemental deposits that were made to the rainy day fund by the prior administration do not actually count towards that constitutional target. So we will not be meeting the constitutional target of 10% of the general fund revenues until 22-23. So that means we will continue to make mandated deposits into the reserve for the foreseeable future. And we think that's a really good thing for helping the state to weather the next economic slowdown. When we talk about affordability in the state, the single largest thing that we're talking about is housing. And I think that it really impacts every one of us living in urban areas around the state, but even in rural areas where we're seeing housing prices continue to go up. And the governor is making a sizable one-time investment to really get local governments doing things differently. I think that one of the things that we're seeing is that we're just not even getting the permits at the level that we need to keep up with the natural growth of the state. I think last year there was only about 113,000 units permitted statewide, and we need 200,000 built every year. So we have a long ways to go. I think the governor is under no illusion that this is going to be easy. But he's put money on the table and said, let's, get together local governments and figure out how we can move the needle here. One of the other major early childhood proposals that I'm sure everyone wants to ask me questions about is the goal that we have put out to provide 6 months of paid family leave for individuals taking care of a young child. The goal is up to 6 months, so that would be for two parents. It would be the combination of those two people, or if there's a one-parent family, it could be shared between a parent and a close family member. This is a proposal that we don't have a fleshed out plan on, and I will say as the Director of Finance, it will be my job that we continue to maintain a strong foundation for the State Disability Insurance Fund, which is the fund that supports a paid family leave. But this is a conversation that the governor wants to start, and it's a high priority for him. And it's one that we look forward to having with you all and with other stakeholders as we think about the best way to not only phase in that type of proposal, but also fund that kind of proposal. And there's lots of different levers, and we also have a bill that was recently enacted, the Santiago bill. You probably know the number. That one just went into effect January 1, so we don't have a lot of experience with how that's changing the fund condition. So all of those things are going to need to be addressed as we work through how to achieve this goal. Definitely a first in the nation kind of goal here in California. A few of the large tax conformity items that we're considering is the limitations on pass-through losses for non-corporate taxpayers. This is something that we would be conforming to what the federal government did on that point. Also limiting fringe benefit deductions and like-kind exchanges in a very similar fashion to the way the federal government did it. But we're also looking at conforming accounting rules for small businesses, which would actually be a net hit to the state, but we do think improves the ease of administration. And we're also proposing to conform with the federal government on the opportunity zones. As you know, the last administration designated the opportunity zones up and down the state, and we're proposing to conform with those capital gains deferrals and exclusions, especially related to housing and green technology investments. So I will just leave you with this, because it wouldn't be a finance presentation without a little bit of doom and gloom. So this is our recession scenario. We're not projecting a recession, but we have modeled one just to understand how bad it could get. And the recession we modeled is not as bad as the last one, but a little bit worse than the one in 2001. And we will actually see a $70 billion drop in revenues in just a 3-year period. So that's sobering. And that's really, again, why we have really invested in that pie, that $13.6 billion, which is building resiliency. Even under a slowdown of any magnitude, there will be a lot to navigate through. The key is going to be looking at all the indicators, looking at all the revenue numbers. We have a big cash week coming up right now this week and in April, and then really making the adjustments that we need to make to manage through. And that's really the key, and making sure that this governor is positioned in a place where he can is important. So that's my job.